This is their life. This is not my life. And that's hard sometimes. God, that's hard sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the things, if you listen to yourself and you do that, the key to it is this: if you interrupt them, you've interrupted their thought pattern, and you may as well not have the conversation. They have not opened up the memory part in their mind. They haven't gotten to the place that they need to put this information, because you interrupted their process of searching around for where that place in their mind is, and in their thought process and in their emotions.
1, 2, 3, go.
Jennifer Hardy, RR.
Believe it or not,
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Show.
the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about.
And we're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Oh, okay. You're gonna clap us?
You already did.
Already
You
did.
did?
Yep.
Oh, sweet. Well, welcome to episode 9.
Yes.
9.
9.
9. Is that? I think 9 is actually in German
Is
no.
no.
Yes. So.
You had.
Sí, oui.
No way. It's
Nueve.
Spanish.
Yeah, I know. Enough is French.
2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Knowing. All right. Well, this time we're knowing what we're talking about, which is hospitality. So, because we queued off of you saying, like, go into business in undergrad, and as somebody who's been through law school, like, my opinion is you don't know anything. The day you graduate from law school, if you haven't got any job experience, the day you get your law license is basically the day you know nothing. And you start out as your baby infant, I know nothing. And if you say that to me, I might hire you straight out of law school. But if you come at me out of law school thinking you know anything whatsoever, you're immediately disqualified. Because, like, let me pick your brain about what you know and, like, what did you study and this and that. But even if you studied family law in law school, you probably don't know hardly anything about family law. I mean, I can in 20 minutes I can tell you what you need to know about family law in Texas, like separate property, community property. Community property is y'all, separate is here. What is this standard possession order? What's the expanded standard possession order? Here's this. And then, like, go talk to the paralegals. They'll tell you everything else that you need to know. And then, like...
Well, it's kind of funny because, like, I didn't go to law school, but, like, I can Google. I can read up on things.
Careful.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
for your purposes, that's fine.
Yeah,
but,
you know, when I'm reading up on, like, what a definition of something is, or, you know, I'm not sure what that is. So I'm going to make sure I understand exactly what we're doing.
I'm of the opinion that you need to be mentored for a number of years and do your first several hundred cases before you, like, go out.
Why can't we do it the way we do medical school? I mean, residency is
We should.
invaluable.
We
to
absolutely
doctors.
should. I'm a big proponent of that, and I try and tell people, okay, it's not required, but you should do that. Go to work for a firm like ours and learn from me and Daniel and Lisa. Let us teach you what you need to know, because at around year 4, on 3 maybe on the early side, but 3 to 5, by about year 5, you're like, okay.
I know what I'm doing.
I totally know what I'm doing.
Right.
Norm Macdonald has a joke about teachers. I'll say the funny part, which he's like, yeah, I'm talking about the real heroes is the teachers. That's and the whole point of it is he goes, I thought the real heroes were the real heroes, like, and he gets in this argument in one of his live sets with this teacher. He's like, what do you mean you're not one of those teachers, are you? Oh, you are. He goes, you don't think you're the real hero, right? He goes, and so they arguing back and forth, and at one point he goes, so no, you're the real heroes. He goes, you gotta admit, like, the guy that held up that flag at Iwo Jima,
Yeah.
he's at least close, right? And he goes, at one point he goes, the thing about the real heroes is they don't think that they are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, it's a really funny thing. But What was my point of that?
You were
Great.
talking about 4 year mark.
Yeah, he goes, what grade do you teach? And she's like, high school. He goes, yeah, well, what grade? And she's like, high school. And he's like, yeah, but what grade? It's not so easy when you're having to answer the questions, huh? and he goes, so you teach 10th grade. All right, so you need an 11th grade education. And that's the point I was getting to, is
Right.
like, you need, I think in law, you need about 5 years worth of experience. I think it's more than a teacher,
Right.
because I mean, think about it. A teacher, you get out, you could teach 12th grade with having a 16th grade education. That's 4 years, right? You go to 4 years of college and then you're qualified to teach high school, right?
Right.
At about that 4 or 5 year, I feel pretty confident, because 5 year, if you go to college for 5 years, you get a master's degree in 5 years. Well, if you're practicing, and that's actually probably an appropriate term for for what you're doing, is practicing the art and science of handling family law cases.
Mm-hmm.
At about that 5th year, you really kind of seem to have mastery of it.
Right.
That's really where you become not an intern, a trainee, resident
Right.
type of thing. And
Well-
that's about the part where I feel like I can mentor you and coach you as opposed to teach and train you.
Right.
And
Well-
it's like, let me analyze this, and here's this a little bit. Like that's what our staff calls the Dana magic.
Right. Well, it's like, when we talk about hospitality and being in the restaurant industry, I had a lot of years experience, did it for 23 years, and did a bunch of different roles. And things that I would do in the restaurant was learn every single position, because I knew at any point in time I could be doing that position as a manager. Like, you literally do that stuff. You got to wash dishes. I mean, that's just the way it is. Anyway, it would always be, not that it was humorous, but it was at times when I would have somebody fresh out of college.
That's what I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about and pick up on at the beginning of this episode.
Right. And they would have a hospitality degree and they thought they knew it all. They had so much, like, there's an arrogance there. And I would be like, you know what? Let's tone it down 2 notches here. Like, just because you went to college and you learned hospitality.
Unless they waited tables through that, I don't see how they can.
And it would, there was people, I worked in a hotel, so you came across a lot of different personalities and different people. You're very proud about, their college education, where they went to school, their degree, that kind of stuff. And of course, you should be very proud of your degree. But people that took hospitality, but they were extrovert or introverts, they were not outgoing people. They weren't comfortable talking to guests. They were scared. They hid behind the scenes. They didn't want to be out front. It always blew my mind. Like, why did you get a degree?
Through a hospitality degree
There's no internship.
with that? Right.
No. I mean, they did some things like, I ran a kitchen at the college, and like we set up the restaurant, because some of the schools would have like a little restaurant, so you would pull.
Those are the better schools.
Right. But the thing is, your whole point to law school and being able to own your own business, okay? Because you didn't get taught that in law school, so you have no idea what you're doing. It's the same thing that goes in the hospitality aspect too. You can go to hospitality school, you can learn how to be a manager, but until you are in the shoes of being a manager and taking care of, the day in and day out of an operation in a business, you don't quite understand what you're doing. So anytime I would get a brand new manager that, had a degree or whatever, lots of times people wanted to work under me in the hotel. They were like, I want to work under Jennifer, because I could see that I developed my team, and I would develop people that worked underneath me.
Which, by the way, if you're hiring a manager, operational administrator,
That's what you look for.
That's what you look for.
Yeah.
That little gold nugget right there is worth the time to watch this podcast today.
Well, look for somebody who is really good on the floor with the guests. If you see someone, like, not all managers are great with that. A lot of managers, if a manager's handling conflict, if they're dealing with situations, if you see them engaging with their staff, if you see their staff enjoys them, that's the right manager. Don't pick somebody who's like hanging out at the bar, talking to the bartender. The restaurant's so busy and the ship could be sinking and they have no idea because they're watching the Mavs game, chatting with the bartender. Like, that's not the person
they
you
don't
want.
jump in or
Right.
whatever.
So we had two kind of experiences that kind of mirror that. One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given was from the commandant of cadets when I was in ROTC at UT, and his name was Lieutenant Colonel Bullock, and I can't remember his first name, but he told us basically that when you graduate from college, you're going to be assigned somewhere as a fresh second lieutenant, and you know nothing. You're going to be in charge of people that have been doing their job for 20 years. He's like, essentially know your place. Like, recognize that your job is middle management. Don't get in their way. Your job is to lead and to, keep stuff from rolling downhill and get your people to trust you so that they're going to come to you when there's problems. And I've found that applies in so many circumstances.
Oh, yes.
And then the second one was I was trained as a stage manager in Naples, Florida with the Naples Players. And they're a community theater, but I mean, the only reason they're not a regional theater is because they don't pay their actors. I mean, it's $2 million budget. These productions are huge. And so I was trained by the guy had a degree in stage management from one of the best programs in the country, and he worked as a stage manager for a cruise ship. He's worked in Atlanta, Chicago, one of those places, and so he has this immense kind of resume of experience and training. And so he came down and he trained a bunch of us volunteers to do stage management. And his was the same advice I got as a dancer was you learn every part. Because you don't know if you're probably never going to do the part on stage, but you may need to step in. I think at least twice he stepped into a role at the last minute because somebody got sick, somebody had to leave the show for some reason, and next thing you know, he's on stage singing and dancing because he knows the role. And as a stage manager, you might just need to stand in so that there is physically someone there while they're doing rehearsal. Or you have to, somebody has to come in and they don't know the role. You're the one that's going to pull them aside and be like, all right, this is where you need to stand. This is where you need to stand. Go get that prop. And you have to know where everything is and where everybody is, because now you also have to guide set pieces that are moving off. And so it is a matter of knowing everybody's job and being able to get people trained up to be able to do your job because that makes them all more competent at the other jobs.
And that's like I used to cross and train. Like, kitchen was all cross trained, staff was cross trained. Like, I would always tell the hostess, once you get everybody seated and you've hit that rush, next step is get out from that hostess stand, grab a water pitcher, and make sure everybody's glasses are watered. Because when people would see other people doing other jobs, I can't tell you how many times I would have guests stop me. Are you the manager? Are you the general manager? And I would be like, yeah. And they were like, I just want to tell you, you're in a really well-oiled machine. And I was like, that is the best compliment you could give me. They're like, everybody is so nice here. And I've had like 6 people stop by my table making sure I was okay and if I needed anything. And, I'm just blown away. And, and that's the type of environment that you want to create in a restaurant, of course. Same thing
in a law firm.
Law firm, yeah.
I was a waiter for 5 hot seconds, and I absolutely loved it. My manager was terrible and made some inappropriate comments, and I just stopped going to work. But I was 18 and I could do that. But the whole experience I had was I had no problem sharing chips because other people were so involved in each other's stations that I was like, no, I mean, we all learned it.
I did until on the sharing tips thing. I had a guy, I won't mention his name now, but we used to get teamed together, and he became, it's the typical communism thing. He became massively lazy and didn't do anything. And I'm waiting 2 sections, and he's taking half my money.
Oh, yeah.
And
I would see that all the time.
At a certain point, I refused to work with him anymore as communism played out.
Right. Yeah. No.
Have y'all seen the movie Chicken People?
No.
It
No.
was a award winner at like South by Southwest in 2016, and Summer decided to turn it on last night because she's like, "This is the chicken version of like Dog's Best in Show." I was like, "Okay."
Wait,
So-
wait, like the show Best in Show, like the people that did A Mighty Wind and
Yeah, like Moira from
Yeah, yeah. Schitt's
Hoops
Creek.
We're
Schitt's
not-
Creek.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a chicken version of that documentary.
Oh,
documentary, mockumentary.
Documentary. And one of the guys who's into chickens, one of the guys.
It's just funny. One of the guys that's into
Oh, you
chicken.
wouldn't believe it. It's fascinating, actually. Like, and they're like 3 or 4 hours a day, like basically doing for chickens what my wife right now is doing for those puppies. Which we're gonna have a cameo in this episode. Stay tuned. So, this one guy he was a stage actor in Branson at this one I don't know, restaurant or place or something. It's like it was kind of like you were just describing. And he had to miss 2 shows to do his chicken thing, and they said, "We're not going to hire you back next year because you missed 2 shows." And I'm like, out of for months,
Yeah.
like you missed 2 days, 2 shows for any reason, and you're out. I'm like, and immediately I thought,
wow.
they got a bad business model. They don't know how to run the business, and that's messed up. And he's like really upset and depressed about it, and had to get this other job, and like it was choices. And that is, if you've heard me about professional, personal, and financial, like that job he had was meeting his professional needs,
His financial needs.
his financial needs-ish, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't,
Yeah.
but certainly didn't meet his personal needs.
Right.
If you can't take 2 days off for something that's very, very important to you, like for him it was his chickens,
Right.
and some of them on this chicken show are going, they're like my kids, like people are like, "Do you eat them?" They go, "Well, do you eat your kids?"
Oh,
Like,
gosh.
I'm going, "Well, my kids don't taste like chicken." At least maybe they do. I don't know, but because I was thinking that one looks delicious.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, chicken.
yeah, there's all kinds of different types of chickens and everything. Crazy.
I've seen
watch
that.
Chicken People.
Now
It's on
I have
Netflix
to.
now.
But I have seen that hens lay different colored eggs, and I think that's
Oh yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah, they can.
Oh,
Like
we eat
blues,
different colors.
greens,
Yeah.
yellows.
So
Yeah.
I have a
I don't know
friend
about yellows.
where we live, and they have kind of like a farm, and they have chickens, and her daughter likes to do shows and stuff on these chickens. I didn't know these chickens could have like wild hair on top of
Oh,
their
yeah.
heads.
All
Have you seen the
different
silkies?
Yes,
They've got, like, the little
I
tufts.
was just like, that's the coolest looking chicken I've ever seen.
There are so many different types.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and in this show, it's this giant warehouse full of rows of like stacks of chickens, right?
Mhm.
Just down, and they're judging all of these of like thousands.
Yeah.
It's
Thousands
kind of
and
like people
thousands.
and their roses. Like people get insane about their roses. And you know how many types of roses
Really?
there are?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I
it's a little
guess.
bit posh because they're roses, but
Yeah.
not chickens.
I'm gonna have to watch this documentary.
There's one of the guys who like came in second place in the show they
Mhm.
happened to be at was he's hatched 30,000 chickens, and he's got like all of these like he's made
Holy
he's
crud.
breeded these, and they're like, this one had really great feathers, this one good size, this, and he's like, and he goes, it's taken me 15 generations, and the guy's been doing it for more than he has one chicken. He's like, that chicken is 8 years old, and this and this and this. I'm going.
So what's the lifespan of a chicken?
I have no idea.
You're asking the wrong guy, but apparently this breed and type of chickens with that
At least 8
this
years.
guy's house lived to at least 8 years.
Holy
Or
crap.
at least some of them do.
30,000 chickens?
Yeah.
That's a lot of
my-
chickens.
That's a
I'm
lot
like,
of chickens.
You must eat some of them.
Right.
Oh, there was this one, and we only watched like part of it, and then we got interrupted. So, which is normal for us, right? But there was this one chicken that like didn't like make it out of their, whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm going, and he's like, yeah, that's really hard, and we had to, deal with that. And he asked like his dad or friend or something, whatever that was there to deal with that. And I'm like, just toss that over to Worthy, man. He'll eat it right now. That's a great treat. He won't even hit the ground. Hey, here, Worthy.
Oh my god.
And then one guy's like holding him up to the light and like, oh, there's veins in that. This one's gonna hatch, and like, oh, this one's not. And I'm like, you gonna eat that, right?
So they start that stuff in preschools with kids now.
Do they?
They have incubators
That's
Oh yeah,
wonderful.
that's
Yeah.
what they were saying. Like this one guy was like 8, and one guy was like 12 or something.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So my daughter has done it 3 years in a row. So they did it in kindergarten this year, and her teacher was like, "Oh no, Zoe has been so intrigued by
You
these
should
chickens."
be careful because the one guy who got second place with the 30,000 hatches and like the 15 generations, he will not have a relationship with a woman because he doesn't have time for it because he's got paying too much attention to the chickens.
Oh,
He's
wow.
like, my lifestyle with the chickens doesn't afford me the time to have a relationship. So if you want Zoe to, he lives with his parents apparently. So if you want,
Well, see, I won't be raising chickens at my
if
house.
you want, are you sure?
I'm positive. And
It sounds like you already do.
And she already told me that if she brought one home, her dog would eat its head off. So
all
it's
right,
not
what did you say?
coming home.
And that's why you took in the stray dog. Was he a stray or was he
No,
a pound puppy or what?
I got him from some people. He was the last in his litter, and they were trying to get rid of him. And he's the mix of something. He's awesome, though.
Is he worthy of saving?
He was.
One of my dogs that he was a stray that I found, and I just took him in to try and save him. So I called him worthy of saving.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed on it, he was covered with fleas and he was real thin. And then we also noticed that he had no hair. So he had obviously been chained and like escaped it. And he had, we brought him actually in this room and we're keeping him. And we came back in the morning and he had busted out of his crate, like to the point of the crate was gone.
Not salvageable, yeah.
And so the first day he like just popped one of the things. So I zip tied it. And then the next day it was like, there was more. So I was like, all right, I'm going to zip tie all these, and then I'm going to zip tie the door. He got out of the door first, so I zip tied the door the third night. And then the next time he like got out of that because he busted the welds. And so I was like, okay, I zip tied those. And then finally, like the fifth night, I zip tied every joint and zip tied the zip ties together. And I'm like, he's in an egg he's in a metal crate with a plastic egg zip tie crate. Like he's encased. Like I was planning on cutting him out in the morning. Got out of that too. Went through the bottom.
Smart dog.
Very
Very smart.
smart.
And at that point, and he can also jump all of our fences. And at that point I realized, maybe it was desperation, but I wasn't going to try and find the owners anymore when I saw that he had, I was like, that's abusive, it's something. And then I realized, okay, maybe it's...
Well, he was real skittish too.
Yeah, and so maybe he was abused, or maybe they were desperate and he finally just got away or whatever. But our property works, and we were trying to find other people, and we just couldn't find a place that was appropriate. Like you have to have a lot of land, you have to be just all these characteristics to be able to home this dog. And so after a while, then he became worthy of keeping. And one night. One day Star was in heat, and Summer thought Worthy had gotten to him, or to her, and Summer basically had a freaking nervous breakdown. So I had to take Worthy and took her to our friend Jana's house, who's got a bunch of land, and left him there like overnight, and then wind up Jana called, and I had to like go pick him up, and because I really thought I was homing him with Jana, but Jana, she wasn't going to be home, and it was just different things, and so luckily like that didn't work out either. Because he's a great dog and we love him. And Summer finally like gave in. And at first she was like, no, we're not keeping this dog. And I'm not training this dog. She was very resistant to it. And now, of course, she loves him, and it's been, it's good. But so we call him.
And he is a sweet boy.
Absolutely. So I had Dalmatians in order to get chicks. That's my thing. I love the dog anyway. But then I was like, I bet this dog's going to help me get chicks. And it turns out.
Yeah.
I was right, because Summer had a Dalmatian. We met on eHarmony. Summer had a
101
Dalmatian.
Dalmatians, the beginning of 101
It
Dalmatians.
is totally 101 Dalmatian.
It is.
Yeah.
We will have 101 of them by the time we're done, probably, because we've already had like a dozen or something, and now we've got the puppies. So if you count the puppies in it, like I'm sure we'll interact with at least 100 or more in our lives, especially with. We have a bunch of friends that have them, and next door neighbors have too.
And you're part of the Dalmatian Club?
Yeah, Summer's the president of the Dalmatian Club, and I've been a board member. I don't know if I am right now or not, but so then his full name, and Shanna called him Buddy. So I started calling him Buddy. So his full name is Buddy is worthy of saving and worthy of keeping. You know, like you have ridiculous, stupid long names.
Yeah.
So that's his name. And of course, Summer registered him like under her name or something, like changed his name, messed something or whatever. But so his official name is Buddy is worthy of saving and worthy of keeping.
Aww.
And so
He's
and
a
then,
great,
and then
he's
he
a great
morphed
dog.
into Buddy Snums, and then Snummy. And she
Doesn't she call him
some
Smoo or something?
Schnummy, Buddy Schnums or something. She calls him Slummy sometimes. Buddy Slums or something.
That's awesome.
He's
Yeah,
funny.
we have like 92 nicknames for every dog.
My dog is Radar. That's it. Radar. Oh, but he gets called Baby Boy, and his little ears perk up. He's like, huh?
Keep thinking. I'm sure you have a half a dozen of them at least.
Monster.
Monster.
Yeah.
We had a cocker. We called him. Well, his name was Buffy, but his nickname was Pickle. We go, what's the deal, Pickle?
That's cute.
and he would answer to it too.
Radar answers to Baby Boy and Monster, but I think it's a tone.
Yeah.
But Radar he answers to.
Well, so tell us about coaching, Dana. Why is coaching so important?
And maybe Denise is one to talk about it, because coaching is actually it's like we're all in our own box and you can't see what's written on the outside of your box. And coaching gives an entrepreneur clarity. You really, and I don't know, maybe Elon Musk doesn't need a coach. I'm not sure.
Or maybe he had one.
Maybe he has one, and maybe he has proper people around him. Or have you ever seen House, MD, Dr. House?
Yeah.
I think House hires coaches, meaning the 3 younger doctors that he keeps around them. I think he uses them in a coaching fashion, because he's like, here's this thing, you diagnose, you diagnose, you diagnose. And in that, one of the benefits of coaching is the clarity to where if you hear somebody else, like you may have your own ideas or this or that, but if you hear them, you can observe it from a third person point of view, and you can go, dumb idea, good idea, let's explore that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what House was really doing. It's like he had just other people like voice what yours is and add to it. So there's team benefits and things, and I think House is a really good example of that. And I've done that quite a bit in my career. But I always, if you know the story behind Michael Jordan, he had a coach, and all of the great athletes in the world have a coach. And it's all the world's information is now free on YouTube and on all these different educational programs. And a good program is like buying the new textbook that are much better done than textbooks used to be back in the day or at any point in time. And it's done with video, it's interactive, it's boiled down, it's fast, and you can receive and get like a lot of that stuff on your own. But to have a coach is to say, all right, I'm going to work directly with you, and like out of the universe of information that is at your fingertips, you should go to this one. You should go to this one, this one. So this one first, this one next, this one next. Or it's a process of you having somebody there to talk with who has experience. The coach is there for your benefit to determine where you are now, where it is that you want to be, and help you get the best path to get there, and also to avoid to help you call the plays, and to encourage you to call the plays, and shouting and clapping for you. The Chicago Bulls would not have won any of their championships without a coach. Just not possible. And a law firm in any business is a team. And if you run it that way, you as the manager or you as the owner and the entrepreneur, in one sense, you are the coach, but even you still need a coach. And so you hire that person to be a coach in your law firm.
Wouldn't you say that before you hire a coach, though, you need to kind of understand your own personal strengths and your own personal opportunities, though? And wouldn't you think that you need to know what you need to surround yourself with? Because to me, like when I didn't have coaches per se as a manager, but I knew where I was really strong at, and I knew where I had my opportunities, and I knew that when I was building a management team, I had to surround myself with people that were the opposite of me. Like I could have some that were like me, but I couldn't have my whole team like me, because then we're not going to get everything accomplished I needed to get done.
Well, I think that comes, the benefit of having a coach, especially a good coach, is helping you see that you can't wear all the hats. And if you can't wear all the hats, not just because capacity wise, but if you are not good at selling, then you need to find somebody that has that skill set. Like I am not good at selling. I am not good at marketing. I found somebody who's very good at selling, and my sister is very good at marketing. And so it's like, hey, I'm going to let you people do that, but they have the personalities for it. They have the skill set for it. And I never was under any delusion that I had either of those skill sets. But I also realized that there are times that I don't have I need order, but I need to be able to tell people, fix this, like put this in order. I can't look at it like this, right? And I know that I don't have the patience or the stamina to, I could do it, but I will burn myself out if I sit there and I put everything in order and make it look the way I want it to.
Right.
Like I can create the grand plan, but I have to pass it off. And so a coach can help me see that, well, the reason you're burning out is because you're trying to create the grand plan and execute it and trying to fill all these holes until you get somebody into those spots. How about you get those holes filled and pass this off?
Right.
And there's not necessarily also a formula that is going to work for everybody, because it's a lot of it is knowing, hold on, no. I know you're interested in that. Don't do that yet. Do this first. Or
well, like you made the comparison to a basketball coach, and I think that in some ways maybe a piano teacher is similar, because a piano teacher stops being a piano teacher after about the third year of lessons, because once you know how to read music and you know how to play the instrument in the sense of this key is that one and whatnot, the piano teacher then becomes a coach.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
they're
Exactly.
helping you choose your style and
They're
develop
critiquing
your
you.
and they're giving you critiques, and they're helping you
And
try
quite honestly,
And if your timing's off, they're
'cause
off.
I used to
I've
teach
played
musical
piano.
lessons,
Yeah.
and that's where for me it became fun.
Yeah, when you're able to help them create the kind of musician they're going to be, and in some senses, a musician, whether or not they're part of a musical group, that there is kind of a multifaceted element to that. You're going to have a musician that's not very good at playing precisely what's on the page. They love to improvise, and they've got that skill set. And so a good coach or a good piano teacher, coach, musician coach is going to help them develop that and be like, look, lean into that. Let's play that up. Let's look at these composers instead of these composers.
Right.
Maybe you're not a Bach. Maybe you're a Mendelssohn. We need to find those strengths and play them up. You still need to do your Czerny and Hannon, but
And challenge you.
In the early '90s, Freddie Gruber, a masterful old drummer, with Neil Peart, who is and was arguably the best.
that's the guy with it's like you have to squeeze into his drum
Yeah.
set. Yeah, okay.
I think I have a picture of him on the wall over
It's
there.
from above, and it's
Yeah,
just
and clearly in in fact, won modern drummer's best drummer award so often that they had to change the category and basically say he's in the lifetime, he doesn't qualify so that somebody else might be able to
should
get
just
some
named it
credibility.
after him and said,
Yeah.
"You can't win your own award."
Right. But he studied with and basically hired and had Freddie Gruber coach him, and everybody's going, you're the best in the world, but it made sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, just because you're not, my grandfather was an amazing golf coach, and it's not, you're not, what makes you a good coach is more than what makes you a good player. You can be an amazing player and be a really lousy coach.
All right.
Oh yeah.
But you can be a really great coach and have been just a good player or even a mediocre player,
Right.
because you can see what you were lacking, but you have all these other skills that make you a great coach.
And you have the people skills piece of it, because to me, training people or developing people, if you can't be patient and understanding, if you lack patience, don't train people.
Yeah.
Don't teach people, because
I
it's
feel attacked.
Yeah, because it's not something that people don't succeed
As a
in that.
family law attorney as well,
Oh.
If you don't have patience, like it's the number one skill to work on. It's still the number one complaint, even when you know, like a lot of where we even get in trouble is like we want to just stop. Like I get it, I understand what you're saying. I can repeat your next sentence. I know this. I'm tired of hearing it, and you really have to just like stop. Don't talk. Sit there. And I've listened to her recently. I did it at one point, and I was like, you know, jerk. I'm talking about myself. Like me hearing myself listen to it. It's one of the reasons why I record a lot of like as a policy, record conversations with my clients is so that I can listen and like the whole like calls may be recorded for quality assurance. Like yes, it assures good quality.
Right.
And if you're an attorney watching this, I highly recommend that you record it and go back and listen to yourself and go, did you listen? Because when you're doing it, and I'm probably horrible at it during the podcast or interrupting. I know I do it. And I'm like, stop doing it, you idiot. But then I'm like, but I'm the host and I'll forget what I was saying. I have to do it, whatever. Jennifer will roll with it. But listening is the number one thing. And if you go back and you watch yourself do it, I mean, I like get really ticked at myself because as much as I thought I was trying to listen and not talk, it's
Same problem. Like, and the thing is, it's like, especially when you've explained something to the client multiple times, and it's like, look, this may seem like a new situation, but you're doing the exact same thing you did when I told you not to do it right here. You've got to listen to me. And it's just, I got to keep telling myself, and not just that particular situation, but like what you're saying, you're like, I've heard this before. I know what you're talking about, and I could anticipate your next sentence. It's like, I have to keep reminding myself, this is the most important thing this person is going through. They haven't seen 20 of the same cases with the same kind of characters, with the same issues. This is the one and only time, hopefully, that they will have to endure this, and this is all encompassing for them right now. And I had one client, and it's not a family law issue, but it's a family dynamic because it's a fight between parents and their son. And she was calling up to the office every day wanting an update. And that was when I first started working in Texas, and I was like, oh my God, this woman's crazy. She's retired, and she and her husband, this was the only thing happening in their life, and they were stressed about it, and it was
that's all they think about.
Gut-wrenching, and it's all they think about. And they're like, we haven't had an update. I was like, it has been not even 24 hours. I have done exactly what I said I was going to do, but nothing else. I haven't heard back from the other attorney, and it's just like a matter of, trying to remind myself that this is their life. This is not my life. And that's hard sometimes. God, that's hard sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the things, if you listen to yourself and you do that, the key to it is this. If you interrupt them, you've interrupted their thought pattern, and you may as well not have the conversation. They have not opened up the memory part in their mind. They haven't gotten to the place that they need to put this information, because you interrupted their process of searching around for where that place in their mind is, and in their thought process and in their emotions. And you have to really be really, really silent until they got to the point to where it's, because they have all this chaos that's coming into them. And they're like, this, and they have to go through that in this forest of all of their thoughts that they're going through. And then they finally get to that part where they're like, what for you? And then now you can plant that brand new seed and show them that. You've got to have that patience to wait and get to that point. And every time that we do that, we're successful with whatever the task is and whatever the purpose of that meeting is. And every time that we don't, we fail. It's almost you can put it on a checklist with one great big box. Did I listen completely and thoroughly before I spoke at all? If I check that box, then you can go, did the meeting go well? Check.
All right.
And if there's an X, I can't check the box. Did I interrupt before they were completely through every thought? If I did, then the meeting's going to be a failure.
Yeah.
Listening, the number one thing, the absolute number one thing. And then for the entrepreneur, the very first thing would be hire somebody to answer your phones.
Yes. Oh my God, stupid phones.
And then who's the next person that you hire? The first one is always hire somebody to answer the phone.
Yes.
I mean, universally.
No one wants
I
their
haven't seen an
attorney
exception.
answering the phone. And also, you don't want to get bogged down with those calls. Like, you might have a demanding client that wants to call like 5 times a day. And if you're having to answer your phone every single time, now you're taking away from getting your job done, you know?
And if they're going to call you every day, and if you have a policy, like they call you today to ask what happened, if somebody schedules them for the next day, then you're probably giving them a 50% discount. Because if you have to charge them for an hour every single day, then they're going to pay twice as much than if you charge them for an hour every other day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that benefits and helps them. And also, if you have a meeting scheduled with a client and you're not immediately available to them, right?
Mhm.
Then you go, oh, okay, and they know they have to wait until tomorrow because it's scheduled, then they move on.
Yeah.
And if you ever have one that's like, call me when you can, you even had this problem this morning, right?
Yes.
Call me when you can. I have somebody that says, let me tell you exactly when that is. It'll be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Are you available? Oh, you're not? Okay, when is 4? I think I hear my special guest coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But then they go, okay, and they don't worry, because if you're
Yeah.
not scheduled, then all day today, if you're going to call them tomorrow at 3 o'clock and they know that right now, they're not
It's-
worrying and
it's
getting
almost
angry at
checked
you
off
every
their
time
list.
they think of you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's already checked off. Otherwise, if they don't, and you're going to call them at 3 o'clock tomorrow, every 20 minutes when they think of you, they get madder and madder and madder. When are they going to call me? When are they going to call me? It's actually cruel to them and cruel to you, and destroys your relationship. And in the meantime, can you please bring our special guest? Can you? Oh, wait. We're waiting. We're waiting. Waiting on the film, guys. Oh, the suspense. The suspense. We see our special guest.
But you can't.
And, oh my goodness.
He-
Oh my goodness.
So sweet.
Okay, come on.
You want me to come?
No, come on.
Here.
You look fine.
I'll take
All right.
Is
All
this
right,
a little
Jennifer-
boy or
Jennifer,
girl?
Emma.
Oh my God.
She always
I think she looks good. But you're biased.
Sweetie.
She doesn't look how she would like to look on camera.
Oh,
Oh, look at the baby.
so
This is the type of thing that happens.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Hey, baby.
Oh,
It's like, oh my
It's like-
God.
look how cute.
I'm camera shy.
We have 10 more of those at the house.
Oh my goodness.
Look at the little paws.
It is. I think he's scared.
Can you put him on the table?
Yeah.
Ah. No, yeah, I figure if he's gonna pee, he can pee on the glass and we'll be good. Look at this, so sweet.
You're so adorable.
We are puppy sitting
Gonna
for a few
pee on
days
me.
on behalf of the Dalmatian Rescue of North Texas. And what's the address to do it? So Google Dalmatian Rescue of North Texas. And it'll be on the bottom. So, and click the link if there's a link, or if not, just get on there. And please make a donation to help take care of little guys like this that came from a bad place and were literally rescued. So
Part of
that's,
that puppy.
so
milk.
we're
smells so
sponsored,
good.
or we're sponsoring them. I don't know. We're sponsored by them, or they're sponsoring us.
partnership.
But we're partnered. Please make a donation.
Puppy smells
we
like a
donate
puppy.
quite a bit
I
to them.
know.
And also, they qualify for your Amazon Smile. If you've never done Amazon Smile, then they donate like a
percentage,
quarter percent of every sale. You always have to go through Smile.Amazon, and if you use the Amazon app on your phone, you have to set it and renew it every 6 months. And then when you make a purchase, they'll make a small donation, but those donations add up big time and help little guys like this to get lots of hugs instead of
And a
being
good home.
instead of being in Worthy's situation.
Yeah.
And a
So
good
the
home.
Dalmatians are worthy of saving too. We'll see you in episode 10 of the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Very good.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.